Hey, what's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? So, this episode is going to discuss Call Me Miss Cleo, the documentary on HBO. I thought it was really, really amazing, and we're going to spend some time discussing it. My name is Donna Stylz. I am the host of Marsha's Plate podcast. I go live usually every Friday at 7 p.m. discussing current events. We discuss movies, we discuss shows that I watch, all that kind of stuff. And yeah, so sit back, relax, and I hope you enjoy the conversation. Make sure you participate in the chat. I have the chat set up to where only subscribers who have been subscribers at least within the last 2 hours can comment because it avoids trolls coming in and being disrespectful, being transphobic and racist, because they'll put monkey, 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 and N word, N word, N word, and um, it's the man or FAG, all that kind of stuff. Whatever trolls do, they used to be harassing us in the comments, interrupting the conversation. And so I have set it to where only subscribers can participate in the comments, and so that has helped us stay focused without the interruption of trolls. Thanks, YouTube, for being smart. And of course, we have people who are moderators who are blue, like Brandon. Hey. Um, yeah. So let's see what we can talk about beforehand. What have I done this week? Oh, yesterday I was able to attend one of uh, my academic like crush. He is like, how you got those certain people that you kind of have a crush on, and you live and da 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 da, but they married and they're faithful to their wives, so you'll never get a chance. That's how this author is to me. He's just a boo in my head. His name is Ibram X. Kendi, and he had an event with ACLU Texas, and I was there to be a part of it. And I was invited by ACLU Texas to represent the Black trans community. And he was there to discuss his new book. He had one book called Stamped that I really, really love, and he had another book to follow up called How to Be an Anti-Racist. And he just wrote another book with a Black woman by the name of Nick Stone, and it is called How to Be a Young Anti-Racist. And it is boom. And I know it's backwards, but y'all know what I mean. um, in this book, they are particularly talking to teenagers and how they can be an anti-racist, and I think that's amazing because our teenagers in the world are brilliant. Um, we can see it the right way. Okay, good. Thank you, thank you, thank you. um, so for me, I thought it is brilliant, and I love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. And I have put the a link to it in the bottom in the show notes. This is not a sponsor type of situation. I think this type of education, because we are in the middle of them trying to erase Black people from the education system, trying to erase queer um, history from the education system, therefore erasing Black queer history from and we barely get the real shit anyway. So I think it's important for me to promote authors who do really, really good work around articulating how to dismantle some of these systems. And this is an author that has a very intersectional lens. Like, he talks about dismantling patriarchy, even though he's a Black man. He talks about dismantling homophobia and transphobia, even though he's a cishet Black man. And so men, women, or anybody, non-binary people who are doing work that dismantle multiple systems are my type of people, and so I like to promote them. And so, yeah, so Ibram X. Kendi um, is a great author. He has multiple books that I think are brilliant, and I don't know about this one because I haven't read it yet. I just got it. But I have read the adult version of this, the How to Be an Anti-Racist. And one of the amazing things about his How to Be an Anti-Racist for his adult self is that he started the conversation off as a 17-year-old who had tons of internalized racist ideas about Black people, even though he's a Black man. And in a unapologetically proud Black man. But we can hold internalized anti-Black concepts in our mind, similar to thinking Black people are lazy, they just don't want to work, that's why they sit around and don't want to go to school and they just ghetto. Da, 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 da. Those are anti-Black mindsets, and so they're a part of a long history of demonizing Black people, and the hypocrisy of white people. How you can try to say that Black people are lazy, but then you have them in the fields working from sun up to sundown. Do you see what I'm saying? That's the juxtapositions of those things just doesn't make sense, and that's how cognitive dissonance work, and people trying to justify the barbaric slave practices by saying that we are one thing when they know that we are not. And so some of those things, those mindsets has grandfathered into our mindset now, and held up stereotypes of our people. And so he kind of talks about that and how he started to dismantle those systems within himself. And he used that as the foundation to teach people and try to push people to start to examine their own biases. And I think in the past couple of days, I have been really posting videos about dismantling your internal biases. What are some of the things inside of you that you need to work on? Because it's easier for us to look at another motherfucker and be like, you're a racist, you're a sexist, you're a homophobe. But how does that show up in us? Because sometimes the call is coming from inside the house, honey. And so you got to really start working out that stuff within you, that internalized transphobia, that internalized homophobia, that internalized sexism, that's internalized misogynoir, that internalized racism, that internalized classism and capitalism, all of those things, like how, we love. I think capitalism is one of those subjects that Black people love to do capitalistic shit. Oh my God, I wanna fight against the system and and invest in real estate property, but then you're price gouging your tenants for a higher rent to pay the mortgage that you signed up for. That is a capitalist idea. You are exploiting your tenants, doing the same thing the white people do, just to make you money. That is capitalism, baby. And we love to ignore stuff like that. We just doing what I gotta do. We just doing what we gotta do. But those things are capitalist classic strategy. You see what I'm saying? We love to ignore the capitalist stuff while we're focusing on the racist stuff. So yeah, and I say all of that to say, this is one of those books that kind of helps you imagine, examine your own personal biases and to think about them. And I think we all need to do that. So that is absolutely great. I also have some good news. Some good news, some good news, good news. So in South Carolina, two men were hit with a hate crime indictment and obstruction of justice charges from a 2019 murder of a trans woman. So excited. The trans woman that was murdered name was Pebbles LaDime Doe. She was 24. She died August the 4th, 2019 in Allendale, South Carolina. At the time, she was like the second person to be killed in South Carolina in that month. Her murderer is DeQuay Ritter. He's 26. He was charged with a hate crime. Now, why this is news is because most of the time, if you remember, I did a database with the Insider. Let me see if I can find that. Here we go. I did a database. I was a consultant in a database on Insider, and and she was one of the cases that we covered. And so I put the link in the chat. Um, and what we learned is that when it comes to the consequences of the murderer, even that had dispariting racist data. When it comes to usually, if the victim is a white person, they get convicted. If even though black people, black trans women, dark skinned black trans women, I want to be very clear because we got to dismantle colorism around here. Even though black dark skinned trans women are the most likely to be victimized, they like in the 80-90% of the victims. Even though those are the main victims, usually when the victim is a white person, they get the conviction more often because we know this system is racist. So even in its attempt to get justice for victims, it is still racist. And so why this is important is because only one person has ever gotten the hate crime charge, and that was back in the day. And so finally we get somebody that gets charged with a hate crime. And he was accused of shooting Miss Doe because of her gender identity. Of course, using a firearm because that is the leading cause of that's the weapon of choice for transphobe guns. So we got to check gun violence as well. So we got to think about that. But yes, we have definitely got a win. We don't know if he's gonna get convicted, but definitely got a win in that regards. There is a news article for that. But the second man, so the first man is the one who the Quay Ritter is the one that killed, and then there is a second man by the name of Xavier Picnicky. I don't know how to say that last name. Picnicky. Who cares? But he has gotten charged with obstruction because he was lying and misleading the investigators away from Mr. DeQuay. So he was protecting his homeboy. And I'm nosy, so I went on his baby mama's page on Facebook, and she was saying, that she hate the girls now. They got because her baby daddy got locked up over behind this bullshit. I'm nosy. I like to go find people and see what they saying. So he got like 4 baby mamas at 24, and not 4 baby mamas. He got 1 baby mama with 4 kids at 24. So I went to her page, and she was, she was mad. She done deleted it now, but she was mad. She was mad that her baby daddy got caught up. Well, your baby daddy shouldn't have been hiding a murderer and helping a murderer get away from the police. He should have minded his business, say, I don't know nothing about it. Bye bye. So I don't know the link now, y'all. Let me see if I can. Just search. Just search his name. His name is in the link that I searched. Just search his name, and you can tell who his baby mama is. I'm petty. I do that all the time. I go search. First of all, I go search for the boy's name to see how many of the girls got mutuals, because that's how you can tell when the train on your teeth. When you got a million mutuals, and nigga, you do that, girl. T, stop playing. We got nothing but trans mutuals, girl. You knew. You just wanted to kill that lady. I search their name every single time, baby. Because they be in all the girls' boxes. So yes, so we finally got somebody charged in a black victim's case with a hate crime. And so we will be following that case. I am so happy that somebody in South Carolina, of all places, because y'all know the racist history when it comes to South Carolina, Wilmington especially. Search up the Wilmington massacre. Like they literally, is it Wilmington? I think that's the name. I think that's the name, Wilmington. They literally, the black people got elected in power, and the white people totally did a coup and overthrew it and killed them. So this was a time they literally overthrew Black people's democratic power. They definitely don't care about democracy. They definitely didn't care about it then, like they don't care about now. January 6th before January 6th, exactly, and not on a national level, on a fucking local level. I think it's was it? I think it's Wilmington. Somebody look that up. I can't remember. I think it's Wilmington. Yeah, because they had a lot of black political power there at the time. It's on brand. That part. All right, let me see who I missed before we get started. All right, so hey L, hey Andre, hey Ty, hey MJ. You haven't seen it yet? Make sure you check it out. It is good. I already said hi to Brandon, right? Deshaun, hey. Skeptical, hey. Brittany, what's your T? CL, hey. Curtis, not Curtis, Coco. Coco Curtis. I'm calling you Curtis. I don't know if that's your dead name or not, child. Coco Curtis. Dominique, hey. When you fly out to San Francisco, you know I'm not. I ain't going out there, child. I don't feel it. You know I'm over community right now. I got a lot of shit happening with community annoying me right now. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, Al. I got this from I think their name is Zulul, or I can't remember Zeelol something. It's a little website. They send me. I got these from there. I got these. These are my little clear gold ones. I love having clear glasses. And then I have some and some green little sunnies. Hey, I love these. They're cute. Mm, I love the green. Has the annual event passed yet? Y'all are coming to Metroplex. I would love to see you in person. The BTEC conference is the last week of April. Yes, we are. Um, the 31st was the last day of early bird special, but you can still sign up. BTEC is from, got the exact date. It is from the 24th to the 25th through the 30th. The main day, so say you can't stay the whole week, the main days that you should be there is the 27th, 28th, 29th. Those days are the main events. So if you can come there the 3 days, it's fire. If you can only come there one day, you are going to miss Family Day on Saturday. But if you want to come to like the awards gala, you want to dress up and be cute, come on the 28th, which is a Friday. Like my grandma, all right, hey. I live in the DFW, so I will be there. Yes, 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 yes. So if you follow Black Trans Women's Inc., we have the link, or Black Trans Advocacy Coalition on Instagram. You can register. Yes, 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 yes. All right, so let's get into this tea with Miss Cleo. So if you are of a certain age, and discuss as you please. If you are of a certain age, especially if you grew up in, you know, um, in the 90s, you remember that the psychic network had this spokesperson by the name of Miss Cleo. This documentary is a documentary about that woman. In the 90s, a psychic hotline rose to prominence on the basis of its charismatic star, Miss Cleo. The subject of the documentary is her. She is a black tarot card reading, black American woman that is pretending to be a Jamaican woman. And she gave advice to callers via a 1-800 number. um, Miss Cleo became famous for her "Call Me Now" infomercials. Her, she had like a warm Jamaican auntie demeanor. I was about to say misdemeanor. Did y'all see Missy Elliott? Have y'all been on Missy Elliott Instagram? Did y'all see her punishing in that album, that outfit switching little reel she did? That's a sidetrack, but she was looking sickly. Anyway, okay, back to focus. Missy was looking good. Um, she slayed. She looks so good. Yes. Oh, she looked beat. Anyway, I'm trying to. That's why she's on my mind, thinking about saying misdemeanor. But no. Anyway, Miss Cleo had a warm demeanor, and this clearly fake accent, this clearly fake accent, and I was like, in that scenario, I just thought that the accent was clearly fake to me, but probably because I've been around Jamaican people. I've been my first interaction with Jamaican people was when I lived in Boston, and we was in this shelter, me and my mom, and we would it was funny because every woman in the shelter, every woman in the shelter. Do you know the reason why Ty, the reason why Jamaicans sound Irish? The reason why Jamaicans sound how they sound is because there was so many Irish settlers that came to Jamaica at a certain time, and that's why their accent has a lot of similar inflection as the Irish people. I did not know that. I read about that recently. I did not know that. White supremacy and colonization has so many effects. That's exactly why they sound how they sound. Why you hear Irish is because of the inflections, because of the history that Ireland has on Jamaica. Diamond, did you ever call her? No, I did not. I was too young and wasn't paying no bills at the time that was popular, so I couldn't use nobody's phone. And before this, I got a whooping. Before that got popular, I got a whooping for calling the wrestling people. Y'all remember the wrestling? With Hulk Hogan and Macho Man Randy Savage and Legion of Doom, Hawk and Animal. Honey, I had called to try to I can't remember what I called for. I had used my grandmother's phone. And honey, I had ran her bill up so much and she beat my ass. Beat my butt for calling them people when she got her bill that next month. Child. And so I had learned my lesson by the time Psychic Line became popular. I got my butt beat. By the time that came, I was like, I ain't even gonna play with them like that. You got to talk to Cleo or Dionne Warwick, baby. Ryan. Oh. But when I was little, I used to be infatuated with Legion of Doom and The Undertaker and Macho Man Randy Savage. I hated Hulk Hogan. I hated him. But I love Macho Man Randy Savage. He was my tea. So anyway, in this documentary, interviewers talked about how Miss Cleo was before her rise to fame, and like throughout, they talked to people throughout her fall. Commentators discuss the implications of um, her crazy fake accent and her relation to the Black identity. They gave their opinion about her gifts, her spiritual gifts, her personal motivations, her larger impact on the culture. Um, the film also includes footage of some of, like reenacted scenes. They talk about the hustle of the psychic network. Like they really talk about how this built and became popular, how she became the spokesperson, how she was really just working there and she ended up just becoming, how she was trying to be an actor and she got this gig and it just grew, 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 grew. Um, a lot of the interview people are people from her past, people that worked with her, and people who were her lovers. Um, so it just had a lot of tea, her friends, all that kind of stuff. It also talks about the decline. What was the problem? How it started to go down, and then you learn that she had nothing to do with the business side of it. She wasn't even getting, she was getting paid, but she wasn't getting anywhere near the lion's share of it. Was proven, even though she was the face of it and everybody was demonizing her, it was proven in court that she had nothing to do with the business aspect, the exploitative aspect of the other than being the face, that she had nothing to do with the business side. But because she was the face, she took the brunt of the demonization at the end of the day, and she had to go into seclusion. So, they talked to so many different type of people. Her old theater mates when she was younger, like 90s level actors, like that. One of the people who, the black girl from Mad TV was one of the actors, one of the commentators of it. Raven Simone was in it. Everybody, who kind of were like popular 90s people. They were not everybody, but you know what I'm saying. They had some popular 90s icons in there discussing Miss Cleo about how impactful she was. Mm, Deborah Wilson, yes, thank you. And just people involved with, they talk to people involved with the legal case against the network. And and just anybody who was influenced by Miss Cleo. So that's the general idea of what this show, this movie was about. I found it interesting. Um a part of the beginning, that when they were discussing how she became who she was, how she became Miss Cleo, and people who knew her. Initially, I was watching and it felt like they were being haters. But didn't people expect to speak with her directly? Yes, they did. Um, she would be a big social media today celebrity, probably. Oh, definitely. Um, because there's tons of people that be doing that's into their witch stuff. That be tarot reading. There's even a trans woman that be tarot card reading. Like a couple of them, not just one. A couple of them. I'd be like, I'm a witchy ass bitch. So it's not about the authenticity. It's just about a girl. Everybody don't got spiritual power. They, you got a spiritual connection with the earth, but you know, divination is not everybody's gift. Everybody is not. That's some stuff you gotta sit out. And I'm not here to tell who got a gift and who doesn't, but though, that ain't everybody's gift. So I'm always suspect when I see people just jumping into something and I have never seen them go through any kind of training or initiation or I don't know. It just feels inauthentic. It just feels like you just doing stuff. You got you a deck of cards from your local white witchy bookstore, and you're reading the directions. This means this. This means this. I'm not really. And whatever floats your boat, but it ain't really my tea or whatever. So anyway, I felt like the people who were from her past. I felt like they were hating. It was something about the tone of their voice and the way they were talking about her, even in their mindset about her before she even got on the show. Like it felt like there was some hate in there. Just based on how they were responding to her. And I thought that that was an interesting aspect because, y'all wasn't worried about her before. Not gonna be at the Stevie Nicks cauldron. Yes, God. Buying books, buying mass produced mass produced tarot cards, which I always think is funny. I always think it's funny. They side out her after she pulled the stunt at the theater. Yes. So another element that I thought was quite interesting, and y'all can throw out whatever y'all want to throw out. Another element that I thought was interesting is how, you know, her everything about her was the reason why this entity became popular and how easy it was for them to exploit her. Okay, so she comes in, everything is failing, everything about this idea is failing until she come bring her black girl magic. She come bring her this auntie persona. She bring the mysticism of a black woman, just the image of a black woman. I feel like when we think about, how do I say this without I ain't gotta worry about that. Y'all my people, y'all understand. So there is, when it comes to, honey, witchy voodoo, um African traditional religions, when it comes to that witchy kind of stuff, there is a image of black people being more authentically into that stuff because we have always been, um unless the closer we are to loving ourselves. Now, the closer we get to white supremacy and those ideals, the further away we get from that. But we've always been, in a way, connected to, this type of alternative spirituality. There's many of us who didn't get caught up in the idea of Christianity and the idea of our traditions that respect the earth, that is rooted in being connected to the earth, were of the devil. One of the ways that we know this is, for example, like Santeria, when we got different um subsectors, I want to say sub, or different branches of, Yoruba, the Ifa religion, that came over and mutated into something else depending on where you were in the Americas. So you got voodoo, that's going to be a Caribbean. You got Santeria, which is going to be kind of South American Caribbean. Um, it's different. Hoodoo is going to be Southern American in America, in the United States. All of these kind of branches of that religion. And one, it's interesting, like in Santeria, they hid their Orisha deities behind the Catholic saints. So if you go to somebody who practices, because Catholic was the dominant, that Catholic or Christianity were the dominant forces, and they demonized us for using our orishas and our deities. We had to hide them by it's aligning, um, it's aligning saints. So you get what I'm saying? We will hide Ogun behind Saint Augustine. Is it Saint Augustine? I can't remember because I'm not into Santeria, so correct me if I'm wrong. But there's, you can find out depending on what that particular saint was about, they would hide their Orisha behind those. So if they wanted to, and I'm just saying Saint Augustine just because I'm not for sure. Say if I'm a practitioner of Orisha and my aligning saint is Saint Augustine, instead of me saying that this Orisha, I would secretly put Saint Augustine candles up because I am, you get what I'm saying? I am really talking to my Orisha, but I can't do it publicly because they will harm me. They will kill me. They will punish me for practicing my other religion because we wanted to hold on to our tradition. So these are the ways that we did it. And so this is proof that many Black people who were impacted by slavery did not just run with the idea of Christianity. There was some that did. There were some that, they, unfortunately had to be subject to the pressures of the time and believe in and run with Christianity. And so, but those ideas led to this kind of connotation of Blackness that we have a better connection with spirituality, particularly things that are not associated with Christianity. Do y'all agree? Because I think one of the reasons why she became popular is because she was a Black woman. Why her Blackness authenticated her connection to the spiritual realm. Do you see what I'm saying? Because we are associated with those type of things because they have demonized it so much and demonized us as Black people that that we are associated with having that magic, having that kind of, that spiritual connection, having that anointing. That's why our singers can make you cry. That's why our singers can make you get the goosebumps. Not that white singers don't make you do that, but it's really common in our community for our singers to have that anointing. That kind of, there is this connotation of spiritual connection with Black people. So when you get, especially older Black women, okay, especially an exotic Black woman that has the Jamaican accent, that had, she's giving you the head wraps and she's giving you these things that indicate more connection to the earth. Got it? There's a soulfulness about us because of the gains and pains that we've been through. Absolutely, you are totally right, skeptical. It is just something that comes along, and part of that is a part of that is our juxtaposition to white supremacy. It authenticates us um, in that realm. And so I think that's one of the things that helped her rise to the fame. And they explained this in the show, just lightly, um, how she, those are the things that authenticated her: the accent, the look, the calm, the nature, and that made it easier for her to sell that to white people. While Black people were side eyeing her a little bit. Absolutely, you are totally right, Gigi. There was tons of Black people in this documentary that was like, "Oh, girl," and even us. I remember being young, and it was total entertainment. Like I never heard Black people talking about Miss Cleo in a way that was not a joke, that was not a kiki, that was, you better go call Miss Cleo, girl. It was always, we knew that this was entertainment. Nobody, I don't know anybody who was calling Miss Cleo. I don't know. First of all, I don't know anybody who's calling Miss Cleo, but I don't know anybody who was in my community who was taking Miss Cleo seriously. It was totally understood to be entertainment. So when I hear these people, it's not that I don't believe it. It's just that when I hear about these people calling this hotline and they are in like mental distress, a mental crisis, and they're calling this hotline and talking to people for hours and hours and hours, going into debt behind calling this network. For me, in my mind, it's ridiculous. But it's believable because I know there are gullible people in the world. There are people, y'all don't understand. There are people, since I've been um, online and I have been sharing my life, I have people that slide in my DMs because we have shared identities and because of how I talk about our shared identities, how I examine things, my mentality about things. Because they can't afford therapy, they will use me as a supplement. They will send me all of their business, ask me their advice, And this has happened ever since I've gotten on the internet talking about my experience. And they will use me as a so much so that I have to say, hey, we got to have some boundaries here. I don't mind talking to you um, about some stuff, but I'm not a therapist. I can't, and I'm not your personal friend. I don't even like to be therapists to my personal friends, but sometimes that comes with the come with the territory. But you gotta support them. But you need some therapy, baby. I have some formal training, but this is not the job that I do. And I'm not your therapist. And I'm not here. I can talk to you a little bit, but we gotta have boundaries. We gotta have boundaries. But this happens to me all the time, and it has not stopped. Somebody will slide in my DMs, and it's not just people who are trans, men who are navigating their trans attraction, and you know, you know what I'm saying? Want to get advice about this. You know, I know some of the girls have experienced this where you feel like, whoa, I feel like you're not just a fuck buddy, you are, and these are people who you're not even messing around with. They will slide in your DMs, but especially somebody that you have interpersonal connection with, like you literally meet them in person. Um, you will, honey, y'all hook up, and then you turn into that damn therapist. They're on the end of your couch crying, giving you giving you tea about how they got molested as a child. And oh my God, I feel so ashamed that I did this. And you gotta talk them off the ledge, baby, before they kill you and themselves. So I have been in those situations multiple times through being a sex worker, through being in relationships with men, through being on the internet where people just slide in my DMs because I'm black, a trans person. I understand. I know how to examine it on a deeper level than just surface level. I'm not really judgmental. Um, and I can talk about it because this is something that I'm an expert on. And so I have people doing this. So I know how vulnerable people can be because they can't afford actual therapists. It is really hard for people to find therapists that are um, it's really hard to find a black therapist. That's number one. It's really hard to find a therapist. If you find a black therapist, then of the black therapists that you can find, how many of them are going to be experts around gender identity and sexual orientation and those elements, experts, the LGBT experience? How many of them are going to be experts in that? And so where you ain't got to explain and come in teaching them all the intersections that comes with your identity. How many people are going to have those things ready for you? And so me as a person, this is somebody who has looked for a therapist to find, to work out my own shit. Um but it's really really difficult to find them, and they have the expertise to work around. And the crazy part is, I think, w- unfortunately for me, usually I'm connected with the people who I think are the best black therapists, and I'm connected with them as friends. So it's hard to get them to hire them as your therapist when they're your personal friends. Shout out to Dr. Matanique. I would love her to be my therapist, but we are closer than that. So it would be kind of hard for her to be my therapist because we are in each other's personal life, and I would want my therapist to be um not connected to me, so I can, so we can be free to talk about everything without, when you're friends with somebody, there needs to be a balance. But if I'm paying you for an hour, bitch, it's about me. But if you are, you friends, you got to have that reciprocity where I got to be your therapist, you got to be my therapist. We got to cry on each other's shoulder, and I have friends for that. I want my therapist to be, to have the skills and the tools, because therapists is not just talking. Therapists are supposed to have the tools to help you, whether it be medication, where it would be, actual tangible tools to help you through whatever issue that you have. It's actual strategy. to a therapist. It's not just, oh, I'm sitting down and listening to your conversation. It's not just that. It's not just them listening. And that could be beautiful, somebody just listen, but a good therapist, gives you tools to practice in your everyday life, and you come back 2 weeks later to talk to them how those tools are working out. Is it working out? Is it not working out? What's the kinks? Yeah, it's working out a little bit, but this, okay, well, let's shift it a little bit. Here's another tool, or here's how you make that tool work for you a little bit better. That is the job of your therapist, to be able to give you those tools. And so, and I say all of that to say, I am somebody who is not a therapist. But because of who I am and the image that I give online, there are tons of people that slide in my DMs looking for tools, looking for help in their mental health crisis, looking for advice in their lives about what's going on with their lives, what's going on with their mother, what's going on with their grandmother, what's going on with their father, what's going on with their lover, what's going on at their job. And I can only imagine how Miss Cleo, back to the show, how Miss Cleo would attract people who don't have access to that, or would see her as, and then especially in the 80s and 90s, there was this kind of tight lip, stuffy, ooh, sit on my chair and let me cross my legs and write on my notepad and talk to you about your problems. It was um a stuffy time of therapy. Now we actually have it's therapist is getting a little bit more diverse not only in their look, in their presentation, but also diverse in their style of therapy. It's getting a little bit more breaking down the system, not too far. It's very racist and like the system. But people who are coming into their own practices is starting to be a little bit more nuanced in regards to strategy and technique to their therapy style. It's getting a little bit more diverse. And so in the 90s, to see somebody representing this different level of spirituality, this mysticism, this magicalness, I can see somebody getting sucked up in that. I can see somebody getting sucked up in the idea of this lady, this idea of somebody helping them that is connected to the spirituality. And I have always said one of the I have always said, sometimes I'll be trying to catch myself to not say something. Because some beliefs I haven't vocalized or thought all the way through, and I have to be careful with how I say things, so it don't come back and bite me in the ass. But this is a thought that I haven't worked through, but this is just an idea, a theory. So don't judge me. I'll examine and explore it, and then we'll talk about it. But this is just the introduction. This is not new, but this is something I've been tumbling around in my mind. I think one of the reasons why we have a problem with cultural appropriation with white people is because, okay, before I say that, okay, so we know the Tyree Nichols situation, okay? And we know that the people who killed him were black cops, right? Okay. And I hope that people in my audience know that you can be black and still operate in, when you, especially being a cop, operate in, this is an arm of white supremacy, okay? And so while you are black, you are operating in the system of white supremacy that is the police state, okay? I hope y'all know that. So just because we got the same skin color or we black don't mean that you are not operating from an anti-black space. Okay. So that aside, in order for those black cops to treat Tyree Nichols like an animal. They demonized Tyree Nichols like an animal, okay? Killing him, beating him like this is not a human being that deserves care, that deserves your protection, that deserves anything. You're beating him like an animal. In order to dehumanize Tyree Nichols like that, you are simultaneously dehumanizing yourself because you are barbarically beating this person like an animal, which makes you an animal. Okay? So you too, in this act of dehumanizing Tyree, you are creating, you are dehumanizing yourself because you are being an animal by going this far. Okay? Are y'all following me? So, in that relation to this action, there is a cognitive dissonance where you got to throw out your own humanity in order for you to wear somebody out like this and kill them like their life doesn't matter. You have to dehumanize yourself. And I think white people, there's a book called Post Traumatic Slave Syndrome by Dr. Joy DeGruy. One second. Post Traumatic Slave Syndrome by Dr. Joy DeGruy, or however you pronounce it. Sorry if I slattered it. And she really examines that. There is a cognitive dissonance that that white people had to go through in order to do the stuff they did. They used to picnic while hanging black people. They used to picnic with their children. It used to be an event. They used to take pieces of the bodies as souvenirs of these events, the teeth, the hair, and put it in furniture. In order for you to do this, you have to demonize you have to be so unhuman. You have to dehumanize yourself in order for you to do this. This has to be, you have to make these false, in order to do this to a person, you have to make your mind think that this is cattle, that this is an animal, which dehumanizes yourself. So I wanted to explain that to get to my theory. I think one of the reasons why white people, we have a problem with them with cultural appropriation and stealing our shit is because it gives them a spiritual connection. That soul in our stuff, because they have distanced themselves so much from soulfulness to soullessness, that this gives them, stealing our shit that is soulful, it gives them a feeling in it. To me, I feel like it gives them their humanity back or a taste of it. Does that make sense? Like I said, it's just a theory, but they like our shit. They come to our shit. When we were in Harlem creating jazz, creating culture, being the tastemakers of what is to be, while they were demonizing jazz and demonizing our culture, we actually were creating newness. We were creating freshness. We were creating things like jazz that has soul in them. And in order for them to feel like a person, some of them white people was sneaking into our neighborhoods, coming to the Cotton Club, or was it the Cotton Club? I don't know. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Coming down to Harlem in the Renaissance and sneaking, literally sneaking, to come to our shit, to feel that spirit, to feel that freedom, to feel that soulfulness, in order to feel like they fucking alive. In order to feel like, oh my God, there's something about this that makes me feel like a human again. Because the world is teaching me to be unhuman, to be a racist, to not see the humanity in other people. It's teaching me that. And so and that dehumanizes me. So in order for me to do that, I gotta come engage with this stuff. And I can't explain it, but I gotta, it makes me feel like something. It makes me feel, I get the goosebumps, I get the feeling, I get the freedom. It's not tight and stuffy. It is free. It is full of soul. It is full of art and passion. And so I have to come steal it. I have to come co-opt it. I have to come, and because white supremacists tell me everything is mine, I have to come get it on tap and try to control it. So that's what I do. And so when I see something like a Miss Cleo that plays to that mysticism, that plays to that soulfulness, and she's giving you that down home cool auntie that's giving me the real. It is me tapping into that soulful energy. No matter how fake it is, it can be. It can, in my brain, I can connect to it and feel alive again. Oh, you really understand me. You have the power to connect with me into with this in a way into that soulful idea, and I want to call you and spend all my money to get into that, to tap into that energy. So when you see the people in the documentary who worked for a psychic network, the gay boy, the white girl, the old lady, them all giving different accents, them all giving the script, and really just, this strategy to keep them on the line. The longer you keep on the line, the better you are. You know, when you see that, I feel like it's super easy because these people were sucking it up because they wanted to tap into that energy, that mystical, magical energy that she represented in their mind. This reminds me of Toni Morrison's conversation about white mind terrorizing school children on the bus. Come on, Brandon. Yes, 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 yes. That's what I'm talking about. Make that connection. That is totally true. You have, the culture says to protect children. The, a good Christian woman protects children. That is a mother. You protect children. You have a natural inkling to protect children, to protect babies of all species, protect kittens, protect puppies, protect human babies, protect children. That is the romanticized version of a mother. Now we know some mothers are shitty, but the romanticized of peak motherhood is to care about children. How do you get to the point as a woman, as a mother? The quote unquote, the romanticized version of a woman as well is to be nurturing. We know that that is not true. That is a stereotype. But all women ain't nurturing, and it's not natural. That is a learned process. And so in that concept where you are a woman and a mother, how do you get to the point where you're turning over a bus of children to stop them from school, stop them from going to school? This is going totally against what you're supposed to be as a woman. And you are attacking children, setting buses on fire? Children. How do you get to that point without some level of cognitive dissonance, without some level of dehumanizing yourself, disconnecting yourself from your emotions to care about children? You have to dehumanize yourself. You have to turn yourself into a thoughtless and careless animal. And quiet as it's kept, even that's wrong because animals be caring. Even animals cares about shit. I done seen, baby animals get adopted by other types of animals just because they're a little baby. Animals be caring about stuff. on a certain level, if you have a certain compassion, you do feel sorry for them. You do feel sorry for you to be this disconnected from care. That is a sad existence to live in. That is a sad existence to live in. Make sure you thumbs up if you are watching. I see 31 people are watching, and I only got 19 thumbs up. Thumbs up. um, um, yeah, so I think that that is totally true. It is a lot of examples of people of literally not caring, and you and this is not supposed, especially Christians. Like y'all are supposed to be the Christians. Do y'all remember there's this iconic image of the KKK at this church, and there's a banner in the back of the church that says Jesus saves, and they are in their white hooded cloaks. Isn't that crazy and wild? That's like, wow, that's crazy. But you have to disconnect yourself. And literally, this is you are doing things that are totally opposite of Jesus Christ. Of if you believe that the Bible is real and this is the word that you're supposed to follow, you think Jesus would be hanging people and cutting their body parts up, and put body parts off and putting them on the mantle? You think Jesus would be doing that? That don't even make sense. So yes, so they started to because they were making so much money. Back to the show, because they were making so much money in regards to this, they just started to be exploitative, even more exploitative. It was keep them on the line, max their cards out, send these people in death, send these people into debt, not not death, send these people into debt. It doesn't matter. They are voluntarily calling, so that's not our problem. They should know better if that's not our issue. So our job is to hustle and keep them on the line for as long as we can. And here's the strategy: if you're not meeting your numbers, baby, we're gonna fire you. And we're gonna keep Miss Cleo on and keep investing in these infomercials because Miss Cleo is bringing the boys to the yard, baby. Miss Cleo is bringing the people, is getting the calls. And so it got to a point where people started to have negative consequences. People started to have, um, start suing them. And it just got bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. So therefore, their greed started to be a problem, and they end up getting sued and going to court. And because Miss Cleo was the face of the network, she is the most visible thing. You didn't know what white men was behind the was behind the organization. You never saw them. Who you saw was Miss Cleo. So she was the one who was having to be subpoenaed to court, even though the courts, which didn't make public as much public wasn't such a big public announcement as the initial case, um, even though they proved that Miss Cleo had nothing to do with the business side of it. You feel what I'm saying? She had nothing to do with the business side of about the money side. So the exploitive stuff, she was just a spokesperson. Now, we is she culpable, or should she be held accountable for some of this stuff? That's debatable, sure, on a certain level, but it's definitely the white man who is making the money. When it's proven that she's not making the money, she's just doing her job. Yes, she's getting paid to do her job. But when we talk about the lion's share of the exploitative practices of the money that's being made, it was the two white men. But they didn't get as much slack as her because she was the visible. And so she went into being a recluse, suicidal. Um, Even after she kept that accent. She still was playing this mystical role, even in her personal life, which I thought, is that strange to y'all? that part of it was the most strange to me. I could see her playing the character and just getting into the character because this is her bread and butter. But when that is done and you still doing this accent, you are still doing this accent. You are still playing this role. We know you from Ohio, girl. We know you're not from Jamaica. And you still are using this accent? You still are being this girl. You still being Miss Cleo. That is weird. That is weird to me. That's the part of her that I was like, girl, what? Why would you do this? Like what why not go back to your normal self? But I've I don't know if this is in the same context, but I'm just gonna say it just to see. Just to give a like I said, I haven't thought through this. This is just coming up in my mind right now of what it makes me what it's making me think about. So I grew up with this girl, trans woman. Um, being a trans woman, sometimes motherfuckers compete with you and you really not trying to compete with them. That's I've never to me, I've never been when it comes to my transness, a competitive person. I always this was my dream. When I was in high school, I wanted to have all of my friends go to the same high school, all of my trans friends, and we just pumping through. It was two movies that I wanted to do. Images. Y'all seen Jawbreaker and y'all seen The Craft. That scene when the main four girls is walking down the high school and tipping through all beat in their sickening outfits when they like in The Craft when everybody start getting their powers and they all just tipping around beat. I wanted to be that, but the trans version of that. I wanted me and the girls to be tipping through the high school beat. I didn't want it to be I'm the most passable tranny. I'm the most I'm that girl and you're not. I'm the only one. I never wanted to be that. Honey, if my friend Ty is in here, uh if I went to the store and stole something, honey, I'm stealing something for her. If she went to the store and stole something, she's stealing something for me. So we could be in the club the next weekend, beat looking sickening together. I never felt in my earlier years, I never wanted to be. I didn't. We. It wasn't enough of us to me in my brain. Why are we fucking being competitive? We want to sock it to these motherfucking straight people. Them the motherfuckers is bothering us. We didn't. We didn't. It wasn't for me. It didn't make sense for us to be against each other. But the culture of the queer community is competitive. It pits you up against each other. It puts you against against each other. So this girl, if I come in the club, you know, the butch queen is gonna be like, "Oh yes, Miss Diamond girl, you look better than her, and you more sickening than her." And then when she comes in looking sickening, "Oh Miss Thing, you look better than her, and you're slaying all the girls." And so it makes they playing you, they playing me, they trying to it harbors this idea of competitiveness, and some girls eat it up, and some girls like myself, I don't really care. That ain't really my tea. I don't value, especially I'm just keep it real, especially when I was younger. I didn't value Butch Queen's opinion because I always thought that they were talking about us behind our back. Oh, she really a man. Honey, I always feel like the Butch Queens are being late anyway because that's just who they are. And so when I was younger, especially when we're young, so they being childish and I just never really trusted their opinion because they're usually always being messy, especially when it comes to the girls. And so I'm like, girl, I don't want to be in competition with you. But she was definitely in competition with me. Every time somebody would give me a compliment, she would say something negative. Every time it would just felt like every time she would and we were friends in the beginning. We were friends in the beginning of our relationship. we were friends, but it just got worse and worse over the years. So where we end up fighting, and you know, she wanted to call the police, and all this kind of stuff. So had to twirl her down. And so, but one of the things that happened before we stopped being friends at all, and she's done passed away now. But one of the things that happened was we had a conversation, and she was talking about how she wasn't going to detransition, but she wished that she hadn't transitioned. And I was like, huh? Because she was a pretty girl. She was a pretty girl. She was, she was living full time. She had been living full time for, at this point, like a decade. And so, or more, like 2 decades. And so I'm looking at her, I'm like, wow, what's going on? She was like, she felt that she didn't know how to articulate this, but this is how this is how I took in what she was telling me. So she got so much attention for being a trans girl. Not saying that she wasn't trans, but the she would not have been a sickening butch queen. Let me just keep it real. As a girl, she was that bitch because her features were feminine, and she was a much prettier girl than she was a boy to me. I just cannot. She to me, it's just something about her that was better as a girl, and I wasn't the only one who felt that. So she wasn't getting her life as a butch queen. When she transitioned to a girl, the community blew up. She got her life, and I feel like that getting of life was intoxicating to her, and so I don't want to say she wasn't trans, but in our conversation, she said, "I wish that she I have tons of beautiful dark skinned friends. I don't know who I showed y'all in the context of what you're saying. But I don't think I would have showed you her because she wasn't my friend. We stopped being cool a while in our 20s. Um but she just basically before we got we would stop before we stopped talking and fought. She basically was saying that she wished she had detransit. She didn't. She wished she hadn't transitioned, but she's so far gone now that I'm so far gone now that she can't go back to being a boy or being a butch queen. She was like, I don't got titties, I don't got hips, I don't got everything that I can't redo. I can't take out. And if I take it out, then I'm fucking deformed and looking all weird as a butch queen. So no, I can just stick out how I am. And so it reminds me the Miss Cleo situation, why I bring her into the conversation. It reminds me of that. I feel like she had played that role as this woman so long that she can't go back to being nothing. Like she can't go back to who she was before Miss Cleo because now this is a part of who she is. Does that make sense? Hello, I am fine. Um, it's a part of who she is, and she's not willing to give whatever she gets on a certain level, whatever she gets from this personality, whatever she gets from from the whatever the benefit is, and we're not just talking about from a job, the social benefit from who this person is. It has become so connected to maybe her self-esteem, has become connected to her who she wants to be, the connection she has with people. She might have not had that connection. Look at how people were treating her, not just treating her, but she wasn't making those connections with people prior to Miss Cleo. Because if you paid attention, a lot of people that was talking about her, there was kind of this like there was no connection. But for some reason, when she became Miss Cleo, she has this connection. And I just explained why I think she has this connection with people. And so her falling from grace, going into being a recluse, losing everything, and then slowly becoming friends with people that bring her out of her shell, that bring her out of her isolation, not shell, isolation. And so when she comes out and be friends with those white people, and she's the godmother of their children, and she comes out, they have a party every weekend and dance and have fun, and she started making real friends. But she still was putting on the Miss Cleo character. When we know this is a character, this is not who you were before you got this job. We know this is not who you were. So you still are playing this character. So it was more to her than just a character. She connected. There's some way of her connecting this character to her identity. And recently on the podcast, in the Trans 101 section, I do an episode. We did an episode Thursday, released yesterday, on trans elitism, and in the Trans 101 section, I kind of define what passing is, and in that definition, I was talking about how we express our gender, and when we're thinking about transness, and in the context of transness, um, everybody is focused on everybody is focused on expressing your gender in opposite of your sign at birth. You get what I'm saying? When it comes to the trans context, we're expressing a gender opposite of what we were assigned at birth. Okay. But expressing your gender is not exclusive to trans people. If you are a cis woman, you express your gender in a certain way. There are, yeah, I know we've seen all the girls who may not be lesbians, but they like to express their gender in a more athleisure, kind of like that kind of athletic way. Like when we think about Tiana Taylor does it. Um, for a long time earlier in her career, Aaliyah does it. That kind of sporty tracksuit wearing, tennis shoe wearing, maybe have the midriff out, girly kind of athletic girly look. There are girls who perform their gender in that more androgynous way, and then there's some that perform their gender in that high Barbie doll, high femme, hyper femme way, and everything in between. We got butch women that may or may not be lesbian, but that perform their womanhood in a very high masculine, a deep masculine energy. Okay. And so we all of us, everybody in this chat, we are performing our gender in a certain way. Even if you are not a trans person, you are performing your gender. And sometimes that way you perform is aligned with the norms, and sometimes it is not aligned with the norms. Most people are going to align with the norms of their gender. Most people. Um, so I think that Miss Cleo, in a sense, this becomes a part of her performance, not necessarily about her gender, but just of the performance of herself, not just gender, but just performance of herself, of who she is. This is now this character that I have created is now a part of me. She felt more accepted being someone else versus being herself. In reality, they were attracted to her popularity, not her. That persona. And so some people get attached to that. Some people get attached to who that persona, whatever persona you create, some people get attached to that attention. So another element that I wanted to talk about is I don't feel like this was a I thought it was a good documentary, but the end was not positive to me. It was actually it was tragic to me. It was a tragedy. Um, for somebody to invest in that level of reinvention of themselves and then to die alone, the way she died was very, very sad. To die alone after this crazy ordeal with the network, after coming out of a depression with suicidal ideation, and coming out of your isolation and making friends and becoming a LGBT icon, uh, debatable, a supporter, an ally, didn't know she was a lesbian. Came out as a lesbian, find a lesbian love, started supporting LGBT issues. I thought that was all surprising to me. I just was like, oh wow. Um, but then to get diagnosed with cancer and die alone with no family support, nothing. That was sad to me. Like it felt like the world, out of all of what happened, after me, you know, I don't find anything that she did to be negative. Like anything that she did in her life, I don't find it to be negative. I even her doing the job for the psychic network. There's some level of accountability that she can have, but I don't think it was bad enough to deserve the tragedy of her life. That was kind of weird to me. Unfair, unjust. And so her dying isolated and alone was very, very, it was the worst part of the documentary because I was like, God, you know, eh, I don't think her life should have led her in that direction. I think it would have been better for me if she would have died with, just happy in this circle of friends like it was before she got cancer. Just her little small little group that she was friends with and loving on. Um, but it felt like she died in isolation. Yes, at the end, some of them came to see her, but she wasn't close to them anymore. She had kind of cut them off. And I don't know if that was because she didn't want to be a burden or what, but it felt bad. It felt unfair. It felt sad. It reminded me, this is, you know, not necessarily connected, but it reminded me of like the mental health hysteria stuff that was happening in the 19th century when women were put in asylums and shit just because men was oppressing them, and they would make them seem like they're crazy and put them in asylums and shit. It reminded me of that. It reminded me of that kind of that, and they would die in these homes, in these asylums, and yeah, I didn't like it. I didn't like the ending, but overall, I enjoyed watching it and learning about her life and learning about the experience, and so I definitely give it a 4 out of 5. It was really entertaining. I enjoyed it. So if y'all want to watch it, check it out. I thought it was really, really good. I think it was, especially as somebody who grew up as a teenager in the 90s, and that, there's some things that are just kind of happening around you. And that's one of the things that was always on TV. And it's like, oh, okay. It's kind of like those kind of THB or TBH, or what is it called? That church network, TBH, or I don't know. Anyway, whatever that church network that used to come on the TV, and the lady with the pink hair, Jan Crouch, with the lashes, and Tammy Faye Baker, and them people would come on the television. TBHC, yes, they would come on the television and be preaching, and it's just something that you would see. You ain't invested in it, but it's just something that was a part of the culture. You weren't connected to it, but it just was something. Yeah, you know, it's sometimes you're gonna cut on the TV and they're gonna be giving that preacher stuff with her pink Barbie hair looking like a drag wig and fucking lashes like this, which is hilarious to me because we demonize black people, black women now with those long ass spider lashes. But honey, those Christian ladies was doing it. Tammy and Miss Jane Crouch was doing it, honey, for a long time. Y'all didn't give no care. but um but yes, it was just it's that was just a part of the culture, and it's the same thing that was happening with the psychic network, Miss Cleo. It just was something, it just was a TV. It felt like entertainment to me growing up, and so to see, you know, now that I have the politics that I do. In high school, I didn't have the politics that I have now. I hadn't examined race and gender in the way that my life would force me to examine them later on. So I just took it as face value. But now that I have the politics and I have the history and I have the reading that I've done to give context to how this person could come, how this could be a cultural iconic moment, it was interesting to learn the behind the scenes of all of that, crying all that mascara off. Oh, Jan with her non-singing ass. I love me. I have in my phone. I have tons of memes of Jan Crouch because she was funny to me. She was funny. She was what I literally thought she was a drag queen when I first saw her. I thought she was a drag queen because you know she gives that. I'm surprised ain't nobody did her as a character, or maybe I haven't seen it. That would be dope, like a continental pageant for them to come on stage and be Jan Crouch, and then do like maybe a church number. That would be funny to me. I would live. But all right, we in our last 30 minutes. What y'all want to talk about? What y'all want to talk about now that we done got that out of the way? What's hot in these streets? What y'all want to discuss? I bought these earrings the other day. They were cheap. They were like $9. Isn't this cute? How's the weather in H Town? It is cold. It is cold. It's cold. It's cold. Some people in the state don't have power. I do. You know, I'm good, but some people don't. I started watching the Pamela Anderson doc on Netflix. I will be talking about that. I might talk about that next week, depending on if I got stuff to do. Um, if I'm in town Friday. Um, but yes, it is cold. It is cold here. Not cold like you know. It's like high 40s. We are in a deep freeze in Toronto. I want to visit Toronto again. I haven't visited Toronto since my 20s, and I want to visit it while I'm not escorting. Last time went to Toronto, I was trying to make some coins, baby, because Toronto used to be cute for the escort coins. I used to make tons of money in Toronto, and they used to have a strip club called this is a horrible transphobic name, Man Candy. And honey, we would go in there and the clients would be in there. You could um, be a little stripper. It was cute. Might be asking a late question because I'm behind on the podcast, but is Nia still on the show? No, she is not. Nia left the show at the beginning of the year. Yeah, we announced it maybe like 2 or 3 episodes ago. 3 episodes ago. Yes, 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 yes. Have you seen the 3rd episode of The Last of Us? I have, I have, I have, I have. I'm enjoying it. I love The Last of Us. I actually rewatched House of Dragon too. Day before yesterday, I just went and rewatched House of Dragon because I just love House of Dragon. That documentary was so amazing. I cried at the end. Didn't know she endured so much. A lot of stars have major trauma. I didn't cry. Um, I am going to do. I have a deep dive that I've been thinking about into the Pamela Anderson documentary. So I'm going to do a whole separate video on the Pamela Anderson documentary. So and it just came out, so I want to give people a chance to watch it before I ruin it. Um, I did see you people. Hold on, I'll get to that. Shanae, I'm gonna respond to that. But yes, I'm gonna do the element. I'm gonna do the a deep dive into Pamela Anderson. So make sure y'all check out Pamela Anderson's documentary on Netflix. It's the Pamela Anderson. It's it's Pamela, a love story. I think that's what it's called. But make sure y'all check that out because I'll probably do that next Friday. Especially if I don't go to San Francisco because um, Ivory Nicole, a girl out of San Francisco, passed away. So I might go to that funeral. Maybe, I don't know. If I don't go, definitely not. You'll be proud of me. I'm on the last half of the 3rd season of The Crown. Are you enjoying it? If you're not enjoying it, don't watch it. I enjoy it. Um, Pamela spending tea on the men in the industry. When she said Mario Peebles, I shouted. Honey, Pamela was in these streets, baby, getting her life, living life of a young, blonde white woman, baby. Peak white womanhood, baby. She was getting the full privileges. But we'll talk about it. I don't want to ruin my thought process on it. So we'll talk about it, honey. She was in these streets, baby. The 3rd episode was very unexpected. I was expecting zombies and got something totally different. Absolutely. Wasn't that a great episode that pulled at my heartstrings? Y'all talk about Last of Us, I hope. Yes, Last of Us. Oh my God. That episode was so good. I was like, oh my God. It was so sad, but so good. I was like, this when he got out of the hole, when he had got the gun and he was getting him out the hole, I was and then they started playing the piano. I said, is this about to be a gay episode? I was like, wait a minute. Are we about to I said, are we about to be some queer stuff? On my Twitter, I said, hey, the gay agenda strikes again. I said, I know the white boys that hate gay shit was watching that and said, oh man, this gay shit. I was getting my life. Soon as they start kissing, baby, I said, oh, the straight men, the straight gamers are over it. I knew they was mad, baby. I know they was like, oh shit, I'm about to cut off this episode. Oh my god! But I got my life. They never went into Bill's backstory in the game. L just found the letter. Yes, I love how they did that. This is why I like adaptations of stuff because they have the artistic ability to explore different things. Because in the game they didn't go, they just got the letter. They didn't go into detail about it, which I thought was dope. Dope, 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 dope. And they did it so perfectly. It was so good. I loved it. Loved it, loved it, loved it, loved it. Yes. Did you see You People? I did see You People. Um, You People remind me of the old school movie from back in the day called Look Who's Coming to Dinner. It reminded me of that vibe. And I feel like while it was in the context of they tapped on current issues, I feel like it's the same thing. It didn't do anything new for me. Um, I don't know what it was pushing. It didn't. It just felt like that. It felt like something a very out of date. It was like an out of date concept that was thrust into the millennium. It's like, do we need to have this? Not saying that it need to be. It need. I feel like it needed to do more. Oh, excuse me. Oh, my ears itching. Um, I, I think it needed to do more because if it did more, I wouldn't think that it was out of date. This, I know, yes, with Sidney Portier, it it just gave me that. It didn't go deep enough for me. I'm not. What's his name? What's the white boy name? Jonah. Jonas. What's his name? Something. Jonah something. Anyway, him and Lauren London. I don't know if that was believable. Jonah Hill, yes, him and Lauren London. I don't know if that was believable to me. It was it believable? It didn't give believable. I don't know. They didn't sell. I don't know. It wasn't believable to me. And I'm not saying that opposites don't attract in regards to personality wise. It just it just wasn't believable. And so that was hard for me to make a connection with their love. If it was hard for me to be invested in the idea of their love. And so let me think of the parts that I did alike. I enjoyed that they such an odd couple who picked him should get someone attractive. I don't want to see. I wouldn't want to say get somebody attractive. I don't want to say that because if I'm to be honest, if I'm to be real honest, similar to black dudes in the hood, when they pick a white girl, she be the most plain Jane, bad build. She ain't no she ain't no bad bitch white girl. She is very late. She usually they very late. And I feel the same way about when white women, I mean when black women get with white men, they don't be bad, they don't be sickening white men. To me, they don't be gorgeous white men. They be like plain Jane white boys with money. They never is. I never see them with somebody that I think is top tier. you know. If I'm to be honest, so him being unattractive really wasn't why I don't know. These are all I'm examining it in my brain now. It probably is just a bunch of stereotypes that I have in my mind, but it's because of my own personal lived experiences. When I see black girls with white boys, they don't be top-notch white boys to me. Um, when I see black girls with white boys, there's a certain type of black girl that does that. Try not to go down the rabbit hole of problematic stereotyping. But it is usually a certain type of black girl that dates white boys. Nothing is absolute, but it's a certain level of disconnect from the culture that I see in those women. And it's not as extreme as Candace Owens, but you get what I'm saying. You get what I'm saying. Smoking like a politician. Try, I have to, grind on my tongue. Order my steps in your word, dear Lord. Lead me, guide me in every way. Miss Candy is a little too far to the right. Yeah, she's a little too far. Not that extreme, but there is a certain divestment from black culture that I see in women that date white men. And it's usually for good reason. It's usually um okay, I can this may be a little problematic, but we're gonna keep it real because we keep it real in this context. Lauren London being a light-skinned, biracial, pretty, traditionally pretty black girl, she gets too much life from black men in order to sacrifice it to go with a white man. Flat out. Usually women that I see dating white men are dark-skinned girls that get treated very shitty by black men. And so their next option is to go with this white man that is giving them their life. Lauren London is a traditionally pretty black girl, and there is no way that she's having problems with black men. Period. Let's keep it gutter. To be so desperate to, and I don't want to say desperate, but to have the need to go to an average white boy. That's just keeping it real. You're getting treated too well. A black man, even the most disgusting black man, will misogynistic, da 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 da, will break their neck to please and adhere to the rules and boundaries of Lauren London just to sleep with her or just to have her on his arm permanently. He will break his neck because she is traditionally what is the ideal. She's Lauren London. Everything about her is traditionally what dudes say they like. Light skin, honey, pretty hair, small biracial features. Look, that's the real. So she's not gonna have the same dating experiences that would push her to date a white man. She is not gonna have the negative experiences that pushes a black woman to abandon, dating black men. So it's just if I'm keeping it real, it just wasn't realistic to me. And not saying that, and this is just my idea because preferences are connected. Your preferences aren't arbitrary. They are connected to the systems that we are living in. They didn't just come out of thin air. And so yeah, I think, and there's some people that are exceptions. There are some people who break the rules. Yes, but generally a girl who is as hood and connected to black culture that in a way that Lauren London is, looking like she does, she ain't gonna have no problem with getting no nigga. Sorry. And so she don't have to choose. She don't have to expand her horizons. She don't got to do that. Yes, Jodie Smith and her husband. I, and I also think that there's a ain't they from London? Ain't she from London? I also think that there's a different level of pressure for, and this is speculation, not just speculation because I just me making it up out of thin air. Um, just based on my conversations with British black women, there is a difference in British black women going across the aisle and American black women going across the aisle. I think there's a different how do I say this? I think there's a different level of stigma in our country compared to in their country. There is a lot of interracial couples in, and they don't have the history of miscegenation. Yes, they have it, but not not like it is in America. There is a there's a certain level of freedom that came a little bit faster in Britain. So it's not abnormal. They call it mixed race relationships over there. Yes. And so I think it's not only does our culture as a black woman, a black American woman, our rearing steers itself for us to be loyal to black men. It wasn't illegal over there. Yes, there's a difference. There's a difference. There's a big difference. And so I think as a British woman, it's much, much easier for her to scurry on over to a white man. There is a shame. There is a shame, cultural shame that goes with us choosing a white man. We got to get to the, I don't give a fuck. We got to get to that level to even decide to go date a white man. Because there is a there is a there is a shame that comes with that, that black men have thrown away. It ain't no shame in their game. They've been sellouts when it comes to the loyalty of being loyal to black women. But when it comes to black women, and this is rooted in misogyny, a misogynoir, not just misogyny, misogynoir. Um, there is a shame that comes with us abandoning our race, because not only does it dilute, the images that it dilutes the bloodline, and that dilution only compares to us, honey, applies to black people. And I say us as a black woman, not as a birther. I can't birth no children. So, um, but they don't wear, the ones that don't care, they don't worry about having mixed and biracial babies. Actually, they fetishize having mixed and biracial babies. They actually fetishize it. Like, ooh, I don't look at, we heard Kodak Black talking about, I don't want to have no black ass babies like me. Can't be no black girl like me. That is, he was, he's ignorant enough to say it out loud, but there's a lot of people who will not say that out loud, but that's what they believe. I don't want no baby dark like me. So they go have babies with um, Maria in the Latina community and Rebecca in the white community, so they can have who would let him, honey, somebody who want his coins. A big shame, and just know grandma and all the aunties gonna be talking about you at the dinner table. We're progressing a little bit, but it comes with a shame. So I don't know how well I believe that with with Lauren London. That's one of the reasons why it just wasn't believable. Um, it just wasn't. It just wasn't. It's hard for me to think that a Lauren London is running around LA of all places, um, believing in believing. It's hard for me to believe that she was running out without the options that she had to go with a Jonah Hill. Yes, 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 yes. I spent over an hour watching an old live of yours, and you've been live this whole time. Hey, Fresh, how are you? But yes, I did watch it, and it was good. Yeah. So if y'all are not, it's a couple of things that I'm watching. If y'all want to join me in watching it, so I'm definitely watching The Last of Us. I am. I don't know if you into anime, and this is not really an anime, but I kind of put it in that same vibe. I am watching Vox Machina. If you are into cartoons, I think Vox Machina is so good because it gives kind of it's a cartoon, but it gives these kind of adult themes. Think of the Airbender. It ain't exactly like the Airbender, but think like the Airbender, Avatar Airbender. But they say some more up to date adult shit, and it's so funny to me. I love it. Vox is Vox Machina, like machine, but Machina. Vox Machina. Um, Ang was so adorable. Yeah, so you'll like if you like the comedy, that kind of way of comedy that Ang and the Airbender gave, you'll like Vox Machina. So watch Vox if you have Prime or Amazon. How are you? Both of them same thing, right? Yeah, Amazon. I really love it. Every week they release 2 episodes. I mean 3 episodes a week. So they don't release all of them at the same time. So each week they release three. Boom, boom. Instead of releasing one like normal series, they release three in a row. Um, which I love. It's really really good. I wanted to like Mayfair Witches, but it was just okay. I started watching Mayfair Witches, but I am not about to pay for an AMC subscription. I'm not. They give you these 2 episodes for free, and I thought I was gonna. I like the first 2 episodes, but I'm not about to pay for AMC. I'm sorry, I can't. They're really tempting me to get them. Um, but I might because I'm paying for my CBS, not CBS, PBS subscription, and I haven't even fucking used it too much, and I done been paying for it for about a year. um, but yeah. But Interview with a Vampire, right? I wanted to watch that. So they've been tempting me with Interview for a Vampire because I love Grey Worm. And I want to see him in something else. So I want to watch Interview with a Vampire and I want to watch and I want to finish watching Mayfair Witches, because that sounds like it was my tea. Because it has that whoever plays her mother, the something I think is Beth Grant or something. I can't remember her name. She played in Tu Wong Fu as the mean lady. Um, I love her. I love anything she's in. I think she's one of the actresses that has been around for a long time, but we don't give her credit. Interview is the one to watch. Yeah, I'm so excited. I was so excited about watching it, but I just do not want to pay for another series. But if I cancel my PBS and put then I might pay for AMC. With the cost of motherfucking groceries, bitch. Honey, I'm trying to save money wherever I can, child. Um, I tried it but couldn't get past the first episode. It was too knockoff of Witches of Eastwick. I never watched that, so I don't know. PBS is supposed to be free now with their app. I didn't know that. Got to get into the second season of White Lotus. I never wanted to. Everybody is talking about White Lotus, but I never wanted to get into it. It doesn't sound like my type of show. It doesn't. Um, yeah, it doesn't sound like my type of show. I like what's the white lady? Is it her name? What's her name? Jennifer Coolidge? Is that her name? I don't know her name, but the white lady, I do like her. She was just in this movie with called Shotgun Wedding with J Lo, and it was funny. I watched it. It was on Prime too. It just came out this week, and I watched it. It was funny. I did enjoy it. Um, I did like that, and Apple Plus too. Like it's some shows that come on there. Oh, it's one show with Jason Momoa. They just got canceled, I think, but they had a couple of seasons. See, that looked good. Even Will Smith Emancipation. I wanted to watch it because I wanted to hear the history about that guy who was in that picture. Um, Poker Face on Peacock is entertaining. Yeah, it's a couple of things, but I'm like, do I want to pay for something else, child? Do I want to pay for something else? I don't. Stifler's mom has always been likable. Yeah, she's always been that girl. But I loved her in this movie, in the movie with J Lo. And J Lo looks sickening. God, J Lo looks so sickening in this movie. And I like J Lo's comedy roles. J Lo's comedy roles, I really enjoy. Um, yeah, she do have never ending wedding movies. she's like Will Smith when it comes to like blockbuster action packed films. J Lo is the queen of wedding movies. Which I live. I like her in those because I like her comedy. I like J Lo's comedic acting. I think she's good in those roles. I want Jennifer to take over as Samantha Jones. Oh, Jennifer Coolidge to take over. Oh, I was thinking about J Lo. No, no, she's too big. I don't. She could do it, but yeah, she's too big. She could. The whole the whole point of Sex in the City is an image to me. So I wouldn't want her to be. I wouldn't want Samantha to be big. Honestly, been more time than Liz Taylor movie. I would like to see her in something else, maybe a Samantha like character, but in Sex in the City, no. Mm-mm. No, I want Samantha. I want Kim Kentrell to come back. Just come back to do the role. You ain't got to be friends with Sarah Jessica Parker, child. Fuck her. But Kim said, "No, ma'am. I'm done with them bitches." I wish that she did come back. I wish that she did though. Did you see the interview of the actress who plays Samantha Jones saying a black actress should play Samantha Jones? Who is Samantha Jones? Are we talking about Samantha on Sex and the City? I don't know. I don't feel that. I don't feel that. No. No. Only person who should play Samantha Jones is Kim Cantrell. No, that is a white woman. Her being black would be no. There is critical racial stuff and issues that Samantha had in the show in the past, and you can't just bring her in as a black woman. Now, if you are reimagining a show, Yes, you can make her a black woman, but they're not reimagining a show. This is a continuation of a character. She can't be black. That is no. Now, if we're making a new version of Sex in the City with whole new, brand new characters, yeah, we can have a black version. Yes. We can have a if we're making a whole new Sex in the City with whole different characters with whole new backgrounds, yes. But if we're making a continuation of the story of these four friends, think about Kim when she was not Kim, Samantha when she was talking about BBC. She wouldn't have that kind of conversation when she was talking about big fucking black men. There's so many conversations that Sam had that had racial context because she was a white woman, that her being a black woman in the continuation of her story would be stupid and just get out of here. That's like I'm all for making characters that don't need like if we're making adaptations, yes, but this is a continuation of a story. This is not an adaptation. If we're making adaptations, sure, make one of the characters black, cool, for diversity's sake. But if we're talking about a continuation of a story, don't make her black. That's stupid. They didn't have any black folks on the show. Yeah, so bring in black characters. They did. She's still mixed. Nicole Parker. Yes, make new characters, be diverse in that sense. Have you ever seen The Legend of Korra? Yes, I have. I've seen that many times. Um, yeah, Wakanda Forever was good. It is on Disney Plus now. I did enjoy it. Sarah's supposed to be the star of the show. Who is Sarah? Did I miss something? Who's Sarah? Oh, she was boring, just like the Best Man final chapter. They didn't have any black. Who was born? Oh yeah, Sarah was supposed to be the star of the show. Yeah, she was. And I think she is the main character, but honestly, every show that has a main character white woman, I never like Nicole Parker was born. Oh, okay. Um I like her spot. I like her style though. I didn't finish watching it after like episode 3. The whole show got boring to me. So I did watch it. Um Whatever the episode when they were at that recital. I think the first time that Nicole Parker ever even came in the show. Um, I like her style because her style is very similar to mine. I love it. But what was I about to say? So okay, yeah, Sarah Jessica Parker. So anytime that there is a white woman as the main character of a show, I never like that character. So like even when it's always the character around her that I like. So like like Orange is the New Black. I love that series, but it wasn't because of Piper. I hated Piper's character. I hated Piper. She got on my dang on nerves. But I like the people around her. Look at Sabrina the Teenage Witch on Netflix. I think that Sabrina be beat, but I don't like her character. I like the people around her, like her cousin, the sickening sexy cousin, and Auntie Zelda, Hilda, Hilda, and Zelda. Isn't that her name? Auntie Z. I love her aunties. I love Prue. I live for Prue. The one with the short blonde hair. Yes, Prue. Prudence. I live for her. She's my sickening. So the people around her is who I like. It's never the main white girl character ever. Even even we go back old school. Remember Blossom? I hated Blossom. I loved her best friend Six, the one that talked real fast. Loved her. She was sickening to me. Tasty was cute, but Pusey was everything. My prison bae. Who was my favorite character in Orange is the New Black? Crazy Eyes. Crazy Eyes was funny to me. Um, the Chulo Mexican girl was funny to me. Not Danielle Brooks, but the one with the afros, the one with the afro puffs. Well, was that Tasty? That wasn't Tasty. Tasty was Danielle Brooks, right? Right? Wasn't Tasty Danielle Brooks? Cindy, yes, I like Cindy. Yeah, not I didn't like I don't want to say I didn't like her. She was cool, but Black Cindy was I love Black Cindy. Black Cindy was funny to me. I live for Black Cindy. I live for Black Cindy, the Mexican chulo girl who had the like the typical, Mexican too light makeup and Mexican eyebrows. She had the bang and the long hair. The I call them confidence bang because confidence bangs what trannies wear when they got a big bra bone. So they put the bang right here and got it. That's what I call them. I call them confidence bangs. So she got the confidence bangs and the chulo makeup. But her and Red was my sickening, the Russian white lady. She was sickening too. And who else? Yeah, I love them. That stole the van. The Russian one that stole the van. Oh no. Oh, what's the one with the curly hair with the redhead one? The one that she has a show called she had called show now on Netflix called Russian Dolls. What her name? What is her name? She got the red hair, the lesbian one. What was her name? Natasha. That's her real name. Natasha is her real name. What was her character name? Nikki. I loved her. Oh, I loved her. I fell in love with her as an actress in that. Yeah, I like Nikki. I like Nikki, Black Cindy, and Crazy Eyes. Those was my tea. Those was my tea. Hello, Ursula. But I'm a cheerleader. I haven't watched that. Red voiced Flemeth in Dragon Age. Dragon Age Inquisitor, the video game. Who voiced the black girl? That was one of the most beautiful. Yeah, I love Russian dolls. Dragon Age. I don't know. Are you talking about the video game? The black girl in Dragon Age Inquisitor, that character, oh my god, she was one of the most beautiful video game characters that I have ever seen. What was her name? I need to search that because when she came on the screen, she was so sickening. The black girl in Dragon Age Inquisitor, Vivian. Yes, Vivian. She was so sickening. Shut up. I don't need to hear you no more. Leave me alone. Look how beat she looked, y'all. She looks so, and this is how she looked in the game. Just fucking sickening. Oh, if you want to see what she looks like moving around, her name is Vivian on Dragon Age Inquisitor. Like there's a scene where she's just talking and she got these pretty ass lips and high cheekbones. And she's just one of the most beautiful black characters that I saw that have black features that look like a black woman. Because sometimes black women um, on video games, they just be pretty white girl faces. They be brown, but they nose be what the ideal European beauty standards. They just like their nose would be slim, lips would be regular, but she had black girl features. She had big lips. She had she just was a pretty black girl. Cheekbones was right. She just was pretty. She just looks sickening. I live for her. Her name is Vivian. So Vivian from Dragon Age Inquisitor. So look at like video of her. She just looked over, 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 over. Ooh. Yeah, and Michaela Cole is like her face is like a beautiful like African mask. Like she it's like her face is like an African mask that came to life. Like she is so gorgeous to me. She is like, oh, she is so I would be gay for her. She is so pretty. So sickening. I love her. They weren't ready for her. They was not. Yeah, like look at her face. It's like an African mask that done came to real life. I love it. Oh, I love it. Viola Davis will be starring in a future Hunger Games prequel. Interesting. Work. Hmm. Doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. But all right, y'all. Make sure y'all thumbs up. I'm about to go get me some snacks for the evening and get my lines. I will chat with y'all next week. I don't have anything to do unless I go to the funeral. But yeah, there's that. Um, let me think what else, what else, what else, what else did I want to any announcements? No announcements. That's about it. Um, I'm glad House of Dragon won Golden Globe. I did too. Thank you for your time, Diamond. Thank you for watching. Make sure you thumbs up and share, and I will see y'all next week. And make sure engagement is important. Thumbs and up and all that kind of stuff is important. So do that if you are watching. And I will see y'all next week. Have a wonderful day. Bye bye.